People are getting squeezed and buying decisions are taking longer. Our buying cycle has blown out. Usually we would have someone jump on a sales call, they would sign up that day or the next day. Now they have a sales call, it might take week 2, 3, 6, 8 weeks, and people are just taking longer, they're making smarter buying decisions. So the question I have for you is, are you a smart buying decision? And how can you become a smart buying decision? Welcome to the Success School podcast. Today we are on episode 86. Super excited. Bit of a different episode today for this one. Talking about some hot topics in business right now. Sitting next to my lovely, sexy, hot wife.
Oh, wow. The compliment.
Steph's gone red like the chair.
Yeah. We've been on a health journey, so that could be a part of it. Tim, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, health journey, personal update. So, yeah, in case you're wondering, I have lost weight.
Yeah, you look so good.
Yeah, if you guys are out there at home. So I've lost 8 kilos. Steph hates that. Her weight loss is not going as well. Sorry,
That's so annoying, guys. Anyone will relate to this, I think. It's like, my husband's lost 8 kilos and I've lost 500 grams. Like, what the fuck?
So I've been on I'll speak for myself here. Steph could probably agree. I've been on a perma bulk for my whole life, which means I've just been eating and training, which is great for building muscle, not so much for your body composition, which was a little bit of a wake-up call. So I got to 102 kilos and I was like, boy, thick, you know, like I'm not the tallest dude. I'm actually 175.4 centimeters. So I got that officially measured yesterday on the height.
So how much under 6 foot is that though?
Yeah, quite a bit under 6 foot. So I think like 5'9", kind of range. Yeah, but still huge.
Huge, big for me.
So I was like, yeah, I need to lose some weight. Going upstairs was getting hard and I was out of breath, especially carrying our 40-kilo Rottweiler up the stairs plus my body weight. So I went on a diet, been eating a little bit less. Steph would say I'm still eating the same, but metabolically still eating less.
So much less.
So yeah, feeling good. Still 17% body fat, have some abs, which is annoying as well for Steph. She's like, how are you this? So I had a BMI. I had my BMI done. I'm officially obese on BMI, actually. I'm 31, which is terrible.
This is why BMI needs to go in the bin.
Did a DEXA scan yesterday, and the guy was like, you just hold all your fat on your stomach, which was uplifting, but it's great to see the numbers. So, yeah, on a health journey, guys, I'm going to go for about 85 kilos, which I'll still be obese on the BMI tracker.
We're both on a health journey. We watched that Brian
Johnson
documentary. I think it's called Don't Die. That was very extreme.
We don't want to die.
We definitely don't want to die. It's definitely a longevity play for us. The Brian Johnson doco was inspiring and extreme. And so we don't want to live like that, but we want to optimize more. And the sooner you do it, the younger you do it, the easier it is. And so we've really been on this optimization journey. And it's been really cool because I think that I've come from a culture personally, and just to piggyback off your personal update from my own personal update, I've been on I think any woman will relate to this. And I was having this conversation with one of my girlfriends recently. I used to train because I hated myself. So I used to be like, oh, you're so fat and disgusting and no one's ever going to love you. And so then girls will get it. It's so intense, dude. But girls are going to get this.
I'm the opposite.
You trained because you wanted to get skinny and you starved because you wanted to be thin. And so this was like the culture. And then once you heal that relationship with yourself and you don't hate yourself and you want to respect your body, it's really hard to then be motivated to train or to do the things consistently because you're kind of like, I'm in pretty good shape. I could stay in pretty good shape and be okay. Especially once you're in a loving relationship and, you know, it can get very easy to not do the things. And that documentary really sparked something in me about just me versus me, and that I still have that naturally competitive. Like I want to win. That it kind of put me as the villain. Like there's a version of me, and I think he speaks about it in the documentary. He kind of speaks about like there's this version of you that's like this lazy, like just eating like version of you that comes up and sabotages all your hard work. And that's how it definitely feels. And so it's like it's been really cool to go on this health journey where, you know, do what you say you're going to do. Commit to taking all the supplements. You know, if I'm going to go, I've been running, you've been running, we've both been running. It's not easy. Excuse me, I've run at least.
You've completed one run.
I have run twice. Excuse me.
Steph counts walking as running.
No, I've run 2 times.
10,000 steps of run.
Since we, I think I'm fast, small steps.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool to just go on this journey of just actually just trying to optimize for you. So we got all of our baseline data being done, and it's been fun. It's actually been fun. It's made me motivated to look after myself
Let me give you a little fact about Steph. She likes to flex on her step count every day.
I do flex on my step count.
And
yes.
Steph's like, I do fucking 17,000. She says fucking. She said, I do 17,000 steps every day. And I'm like, okay, cool. There's something. She's not doing 17,000 steps, by the way. So I was like watching her just, I call it stop around the kitchen. And Steph takes really short steps. I'm talking like heel to toe steps. So she's just racking up this incredible step count when she's not actually moving very far.
Yeah,
so that's how you do it. That's the hack. So if you guys want to get your steps up.
I shouldn't even really need to train because I get 16,000 steps every day, you know?
So today, guys, we're talking about 4 hot topics in business right now. How it's going to run is I'm going to ask Steph a question. She's going to ask me a question. We're going to jam and just see where this goes. So super interesting one. Personal brand versus company brands. With organic reach dropping and people craving authenticity, should business owners put their face front and center or focus on building a brand that stands on its own? What are some pros? What are some cons? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so last week we spoke about AI, and I promised you that this week we would speak about something to do with personal brand.
Yeah.
I want to connect the 2 dots here. So I do think that in a world, and I think that this will eventually be its own episode, but I do think that in a world where there is going to be more and more AI and our bots are talking to each other and everyone's playing a game trying to please an algorithm rather than trying to actually connect with the community, I think that the power of a personal brand is going to be more important than ever. Or I do think that you need to personalize your company brand, almost humanize it. And we have some clients that have company brands, but they're super personal. There's heaps of like human faces, obviously, because they're humans. But there's heaps of, personal touches throughout their social media, all over their websites, photos of them and their stuff. And I personally think that we are going to make a bit of a move away from big company brands. Now, I'm not sure how that extends to like large scale companies. So, I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars of companies. I don't know if they're going to put a face to their brands, but I definitely think for small businesses that the humanizing or the personalizing of brands is going to be absolutely necessary as AI comes into play more. I think that we're going to detach a little bit from each other and want the human connection. And so I think that moving forward, it's going to be really powerful. The benefits of having a personal brand, there are pros and cons to having a personal brand. It's really hard to build a personal brand. Tim's trying to come up or working on at the moment a framework so that we can teach it really conclusively. There's nothing online that really teaches you how to do this. They kind of just say, model what I do, but then that's not personal because it's actually not you. And so I think that personal brand, it's tough because you really have to there's so many barriers. You have to be really okay with sharing your opinion and your thoughts. You have to be okay with being trolled, which you will 100% be trolled. There's a lot of kind of barriers that get in the way of like, am I even interesting? What can I even say about myself? And so building a personal brand is tricky, but also the easiest thing you'll ever do once you tap into it because be yourself. And so I do love it for that reason. I think people relate and connect more with personal brands. I don't think I've ever seen a company profile with as many followers as a business profile outside of like Nike. So I think that, and even then they humanize their brand because it's always athletes and people and faces with shoes. And so I think that the personal brand is here to stay. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Company brands are great because if you don't like having a personal brand, it's awesome. I do think that you can humanize a company brand without having to be vulnerable and share and cry on the internet as well. I think, again, it just comes down to what are our values and how do we live and breathe those values online as human beings within this company.
I just want to talk about my experience with a personal brand. So you've got varying degrees of personal brand. So you've got like 10 out of 10, you share everything, you cry on camera, you share all your opinions and it's crazy. And then you've got like a 5 out of 10, which is somewhere in the middle. You share your opinions, but maybe not your fully extreme opinions or what you'd really say to a friend. I think you can be anywhere on this scale. I don't think that everyone should be crazy conspiracy, here's everything I think all the time, especially if you have a business. It can work for you and it has worked for people. I just think you guys should work out where you want to be on the scale, dip your toes in, and then maybe ramp it up, see the audience reaction or your brand's reaction or your ideal client's reaction and see how you go. I'm not telling you not to be yourself online. I'm just maybe thinking about this from a business perspective of how much you do want to share. If I were to rate myself on a personal brand scale on how much I actually show all my thoughts, beliefs, values, I'd say I'm a 5. I think 5's enough. I think you kind of get it without me having to actually say it. I think you can be one of those brands as well.
Talk to me about why you choose a 5, because a 5 is a choice, right?
Yeah.
Like this is very much a choice. And be honest, like, why really is it a 5 and not, because you do have.
If I knew I wasn't going to get trolled, I'd probably go 10.
Yeah.
Like, I think our clients in Success School would be cool with knowing every aspect of my thoughts, beliefs, so they could probably guess anyway. It's probably just for that trolling. Like, I'm okay with trolling, but when it gets like every post and every case, gets fucking draining, man. Like, it's super draining. Like, there was a period, I don't get it that much anymore. We used to wake up every day and have 3 or 4 or 5 trolls every day. It was like, you fucking suck. This sucks. I hate this opinion. Yeah. And it's just like super straining, man. Cause it's just like, it's just what I believe, dude. Like, shut up. Leave me alone.
I think that you have to have, I think this is something that gets built over time unless you were just born this way. And Tim's pretty strong. So I think it's an armor and I think it builds up. I think it's almost like a shell that gets layered and layered and layered, because there was a time back, a couple of years ago where one troll would have rattled me for a week. Now it's like it would have to be like 50 trolls to really start getting to me, So I think that your armor thickens over time the longer that you do it, and the more that you kind of breach out and share a new opinion and drop a new thing in the ocean and see how the world reacts to it. And so I think that, you may edge from a 5 to a 6 or a 6 to a 7. And you don't have to be like Candace Owens to get a point across, right? So I think there's some mid-ground on it as well. But again, guys, it comes down to you can choose just how much you do share.
I love having a personal brand because it's my creative expression and my outlet. I don't even do it for business. Like, I do it for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like sharing
you were doing it before.
Yeah, I was doing it before. Like, I love it. Like, it's the best thing ever. We discussed it. We were like, I actually don't need a brand, as Tim, but I just love having one. It's great.
You always enjoy creating content. Yeah, for sure. So the second topic, kind of off the back of that, is, obviously we now are well and truly entrenched in online business culture. There are brick and mortar businesses for sure, and they will be very successful, I'm sure, for a very, very long time. But if we're looking at online business specifically, what are the most profitable online business models right now?
This is an amazing question, and I'm glad we went here. So a big misconception in online business is that any business you don't have is far easier than the one you do have. So we are coaches. We have wet dreams about having a product. Or we have wet dreams about having an e-com product, or starting a low-touch membership, or whatever it is. Because you just fantasize about what it could be. Yeah. And fantasizing about what it could be is not what it actually is. I think every business is hard. And if you choose a product or whatever it is you want to choose, it's going to be hard. We know people doing every aspect or every phase or every type of online business, from low ticket to high ticket to memberships to courses to products to whatever it is. They're all fucking hard. So if you guys are fantasizing about something else that's going to be easier because you saw it online, or you saw some person lying about how much money they're making doing X, and you believe that and you think it's going to be easy, you're going to be sorely disappointed with what it actually takes online. I think to make anything easier or anything you go into, it's really good to have a brand, to have really good marketing, to have a big email list, to be really good at what you do and be really into what you do in terms of getting a result for your client or making your product epic. I think you could choose whatever modality you want. And if you had those 5 things, you would crush. But I think like fantasizing about a model that's better than what you've got is super unhelpful.
The best business is the one that you stick to.
Yeah.
And I think that, we've seen this play out a lot. Like, I'm going to use one of our clients as an example, and she has a website building business. And a couple of years ago, she was kind of stagnating around maybe 30, 40K months. And she didn't say it, but I remember it came up in a conversation where she was like, someone's asked me if I should mentor them. And this is really common. If you start getting any kind of success, someone's going to ask you to mentor them. And she said, for a little while there, and guys, this just happens. I want to be really clear. This happens in every business. You will hit an income level and you will stagnate. And it doesn't matter which industry or business you're in, this will happen, because you need to change a lot of things at that point in order to get to the next level. What got you here is not going to get you there. And sometimes it can feel easier when you're at that point and you're just driving and you're driving and you're driving. Our last 6 months was like this. We just drove and drove and drove and drove, and nothing seemed to happen. And I know that this girl thought about going to business coaching.
Everyone does.
Because they all think that for some reason this is some magical money-making industry where everyone's just going to get rich and blah, 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 blah. And any coach will tell you that it's just as hard or harder than running a gym. It is just as hard as any other business we've had. They're all hard. And she said recently she just hit her first $85,000 a month. And I have no doubt she'll hit $100,000 a month this year. And she said, I'm so glad I didn't swap and go to business coaching. I'm so glad I just stuck this out. If you are hitting a ceiling, there is a way around it. You just need to find it. it is so much faster to find the way around it because she would have started business coaching. And here's what would have happened. So that conversation happened about a year ago when she started being like, "Arr." In the next 12 months, she went from like 30K months to like 80K months. If she'd gone back to zero, she'd still be at 30K months or less by now.
Mhm.
So she wouldn't have grown at all because she would have had to shut everything down, fire everybody, start from zero, feel like an imposter, have no systems, have no processes. It would have all started from zero and then she'd be at 30, 40K months now. But instead, now she's at almost, this year she'll hit 100K months. The business that is the most profitable or the easiest to scale is the one that you stick to every single time.
The analogy here, guys, is you're on a mountain and your business is a rock and you push on the rock up the mountain, up the mountain, up the mountain. And as soon as you quit and you're like, this is too hard, I'm going to do something else, the rock falls down to the bottom and you're on a new mountain pushing up an even bigger rock. Okay. And you've lost all your systems, processes, teams, everything that you've built so hard over the last couple of years because you think it's going to be easier somewhere else. And we're not saying that you shouldn't change or pivot if you don't want to, but I'm saying if you're just chasing money, there's probably an answer here.
Yeah.
That's really simple and probably just sitting right there in front of your face.
Yeah, totally. And this is where I think having people in your corner, like we have people in our corner that we've fantasized over many types of businesses, and we've had coaches tell us, don't. One thing that we fantasized over for a little while was like, imagine if we only coached companies that were like at, 4 or 5 million kind of thing, like whatever. And someone was like, yeah, they have more money to sue you when it goes wrong. And I was like, never considered that. So like everything that you fantasize about has a con for sure.
Yeah. All right, Steph, question 3, scaling to 7 figures without a big team. This is a hot topic. Let's start off with, is it possible to get to 1 million without a huge team?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not only possible, it's super possible. It's hyper possible at this point. Inflation, first and foremost.
Yeah,
I think
inflation.
$1 million used to be a big deal.
It's like 10 cents.
Yeah, $1 million is not as big a deal anymore.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You have to be very, 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 very good at what you do.
Yeah.
I think if you come into it and you are very, very, very good at what you do, or you're willing to spend the time to build out frameworks and systems around the knowledge that you have. So first, there's a couple of key things here. One, what you do has to be in demand and of interest.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first point. It has to be an industry that people are interested in learning about. They have to want to pay for it. They have to want to buy it. They have to have a means to pay for it. That is the first part. The second part is you have to know it really well. And if you know it really well, you should be able to put frameworks around what we would call pulling frameworks around your IP. So this is like your knowledge. Again, you know it very well. If you know it so well, you should be able to teach it in a framework, which means that you should be able to teach it without people needing your personal input. Right. And so if you can teach it without or provide it doesn't even necessarily, it could be a software, it could be a resource, whatever. If you could teach it without people needing your input and you know it really well and it's a growing industry or a big market, then 100% you can scale that thing up to 1 million really quickly with a very, very small team.
Let's talk about that decision from us. So we went to 1 million without a big team and we've gone to multi-millions without a big team. We have people in our network that have also done those revenue numbers, but with huge teams.
Yes.
What was that decision from you? Like, why do you not want a big team? Why do you think we should do it without? The cons are we can never really take a week off for me. Yeah. But like, what was that decision for you and why did you want to do that?
We get a week off in December.
Yeah, we get a week off in December.
I think everything has a sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And to be fair, we could set up differently. We could set up Success School to say like there's 2 weeks into every year that we don't work, like, or we take 5 weeks a year and there's these points throughout the year or whatever. It's just not our style. So I think that the reason that we made the decision was Tim and I are not naturally super extroverted by nature. I think I used to be, but I think it was from needing to be validated rather than actually being an extrovert. And so for me and Tim, talking to people a lot outside of coaching and having to manage teams and have meetings and deal with stuff that's going on, blah, 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 it actually feels very taxing to us. And so as much as we love the team environment, like we love hangouts and we love, team catch-ups and we enjoy the banter that are on the team meetings, we also don't love the management side of teams. And we also really hate having hard conversations. It's not our favorite thing to do. And so for us, it just having all those moving parts of a team, people, you've got leave calendars and you've just got all this stuff like that you're constantly managing. If someone leaves or someone takes a sick day, you need someone to be able to fill in and there's a lot that becomes out of your control. And when it became out of our control and we were constantly managing all these things, it actually took us away from the things that we enjoyed doing because we were spending so much time managing For us, that just wasn't fun. So that, for me, that was part of the reason. Was there anything else?
That was basically it.
Yeah.
Like I've had, I would say, over 100 team members and employees. I've had every conversation. I've hired every role. I've trained every role. I've done all that stuff. And I was like, I just don't enjoy that. Like it was just something I just don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Like everyone we have in our team is like A player. They don't need much management. It's amazing. And I kind of said to myself, it's a bit of a challenge. Like if we can grow revenue infinitely with infinite amount of team members, which is fine because everyone you bring on the team does add something and it's great, but it also takes away the profitability of the organization. So I was like, cool. For us having a client success manager, an admin, a setter, and a salesperson, so 4 people on our team, you and me, how many people can we impact? Like how big can we grow this thing?
Yeah.
How many lives can we actually help in this exact model we have right now, rather than having 50 people on the team, everyone doing some crazy job and doing it at 10% capacity?
The other thing as well is that Tim and I, we're big advocates for change, and we're learning ourselves as much as we are learning how to grow businesses and how to scale businesses. And so part of that is that we make changes. And when we decide we don't want to do something, we don't want to do it. Or if we decide we do want to do something, we want to do it and we want it done yesterday. And so one of the things about having a big team is that you go from being in this, I always liken it to speedboats and cruise ships, but when you're in a small team like the size of ours right now, we can turn the boat at any point very quickly. So if we decide, hey, we're not going to do sales calls anymore, we're going to go to an application funnel, we're going to do this, and this. The team's like, sick, on board. We have to have one meeting. We have to roll out one new SOP to one person. We move in that direction. It could happen by tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if we have 15 team members and that person's role, affects that person's role, who affects that person's role, and 6 people need training, and all of a sudden
and we're feeding 10 families.
We're feeding 10 families. And then what if we make a decision that, impacts like our responsibility to them? And it all becomes very hard, and you start trying to turn this cruise ship, which obviously is not as fast as speedboat. So that one change may take months to roll out. Not our cup of tea because we are fast movers. So I think there's the agility of a small team that really appeals as well.
That's a great analogy. But look at how long it takes something to go through in government. Because they have millions of employees. Like you've got to have to change your fucking signature in your email, you've got to have a meeting with 22 people about it.
Yeah,
and then
totally.
to fix a pothole in the road, it takes 9 months, it's crazy. So if you liken us to the Australian government in terms of employees, we can move quick.
Yeah. Okay. So it's possible to scale a small team up to $1 million. In fact, we know people who do it pretty much solo with just a couple of contractors. So definitely possible if something that you desire. The last topic that I'd love to talk to you about is the economy. It's shifted again.
Huge.
So how is the economy, Tim, hitting small businesses? Because we have rising interest rates, we have inflation. How are business owners staying profitable?
Backstory here, guys. We're going to go back. COVID time. So massive amounts of money printed in circulation, trillions of dollars, incredible. Everyone's getting stimulus checks around the world. It's fucking party time for business. Everyone's got money. Everyone's making money. And then what happened in that time is governments expanded. They started spending a lot of money. Everyone is spending money. So the reserve banks of all the countries, they jack up interest rates as a mechanism to stop the spending. That's what's happened. And then we get these massive government bloats. And I'm going to speak about America in particular here. So they have these massive government bloats. They get so much debt that repaying the interest on the debt equals trillions of dollars, which is crazy. So interest rates are all-time high. So the latest government has come in. They have implemented DOGE, which is the Department of Government Efficiency. So they started making cuts now in America. And what we know about America, basically they have a big part in the global economy around the world. So now they're cutting billions of dollars a day, which might sound terrible from the humanitarian aspect of, people are getting fired, contracts are getting cut up, they're handing back leases of buildings. A lot of people are affected by it, but it is actually a good thing for the economy because the debt ceiling is lowering in America and interest rates will drop eventually. So there is light at the end of the tunnel on what's going on right now from a business perspective in America. People are going to have more expendable income and then money is going to come. The problem is that right now it's tough. Okay, it's tough right now in business, which means people are getting squeezed and buying decisions are taking longer. So if we talk about Success School, our buying cycle has blown out. So usually in the good old days of Success School, in the first 6 months, 12 months, we would have someone jump on a sales call. They would sign up that day or the next day. Now they have a sales call. It might take week, 2, 3, 6, 8 weeks. and people are just taking longer. They're making smarter buying decisions. So the question I have for you is, are you a smart buying decision? And how can you become a smart buying decision? For us, that was investing in our website, making it look better, getting better copy, upgrading our podcast, making that look better, upgrading our content, getting testimonials on the website, getting case studies, improving our ads, making it a smart buying decision. We included a guarantee in Success School that if you join, which I hope you guys do, you get 10 clients in your first year, you get your money back. Obviously, there's stipulations to that as well. You can't just sign up, not show up, and you're not going to get any clients. So that's not going to work. But I guess the thing I want you to think about is, how can you make your business a no-brainer, or how can you make your offer a no-brainer? How can you make your business a better buying decision?
I want to touch on something that you mentioned there, which I think is super relevant. We see it with our clients a lot, but I hear it in conversations a lot. Oh, I lost that, like that sales call didn't convert. You shouldn't be stopping on that day. Like that, that's your first mistake. So buying cycles have blown out. If it's not a yes right now, it may be a yes in 3 weeks' time. Ask when it is going to be a yes. Like, don't hesitate to kind of continue to warm that conversation, because it may be a no right now, but in 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks' time, they may turn around and go, actually, it's exactly what I need. Let's do it. So don't close the door and just think, that's lost. Continue to converse and warm those people and create nurture sequences and ways of checking in with those people, because the cycle is definitely taking longer. And I want to hit this conversation from a slightly different perspective. One of the questions that I asked you was, how are business owners staying profitable? So yes, how can you make yourself a smart buying decision? But also, guys, you can't blow out with costs right now. Like, you have to be really smart about the way that you are scaling your businesses, the team members you have. Are you doing things the most efficiently? I'll give you an example. We have a couple of clients who have had a lot of success very quickly, and they have, I think, a fitness business. And they were like, look, Steph, the amount of time we're spending for the amount of money we're making doesn't make sense. We have to charge more. Now, their ideal client can't afford more. They're in a low socioeconomic group. They have big impact mission on their heart. They're like, we're going to double our price. And I was like, you are not going to sign anybody at double your price, because that's just not your market. So we need to now solve the problem, because the problem is the constraint. The constraint is we don't have the time. So we need to fix that problem, not just double the price point. And so the time constraint was pretty much immediately fixed. They were like, we're going to hire a Filipino VA. They're going to help us with some of this admin. We actually need to stop over delivering and simplify the ways in which, and automate ways in which we communicate with our clients a lot of the time, so we can take on more clients and do it in the amount of time we're currently spending at the moment. This is a really obvious thing to say, but it's about working smarter and not harder. It's not just about doubling your price point. We've spoken about this. There's not a lot of additional income in the market right now. There will be. It's going to grow. But at this exact moment, doubling your price point doesn't solve the problem. You're just going to get less clients, which is cool. But if you fix the constraint, which is the time, you'll be able to take on more clients and have the impact that you want. And there are ways around it. And so how do you stay profitable? Keep costs low, find smarter ways of doing things, smarter ways of working. And yeah, maybe price increase. We highly recommend a price increase. It's only doing little bits at a time, small ones at a time. Yeah.
I'm just going to leave you with the final takeaway here, guys. I just want you to think about your service, offer, product, whatever it is. How can you make it better? How can you improve it? How can you get a better result for your client? That is the key to growing a business, really, in a nutshell.
Totally. Guys, if you loved this episode, it was really fun. I really enjoyed talking about all the topics that are happening in the business world. If you enjoyed the episode, let us know if you liked this style. We're trying some new stuff out, so we do it for you. We do it for us because we love it, but we do it for you. So let us know if you liked, and if you loved it, we would love to hear about it.
All right, guys, you know what to do. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button. We loved having you. It was a super fun episode, and we'll see you next week.